Hey, my name's Aaron Bueltmann. So I built this cathedral here. Built it in 4 months, actually. It's been a design that I've been thinking through for probably like 10 to 15 years. And then I was gonna build it over the winter and start with a lot of time in advance before this event. But then I ended up moving in the middle of that, and so I couldn't do that. And then thankfully I moved into a house with a bigger Lego room. So that gave me more space to set up and put my tables up and everything.
Is this based on a real building?
Slightly inspired by the Cathedral Notre Dame in Paris, especially after. So I built the spire the day after the video came out of the spire on Notre Dame burning. So kind of inspired by that but otherwise just kind of modeled off of various kind of cathedrals that I've seen in my life or churches. I've always been fascinated by church architecture, and any architecture really, but especially church architecture.
So where did you start with this build? Just kind of build from the ground up?
I started with the front entranceway. Figured out how to use, so the arch under there is actually the skateboard ramp, like a half pipe. Yeah. It's upside down. Used the 1x1 vertical clips, light bluish gray on the arches there. That's the texture on the facade. Built the steps I parted out a whole bunch of the Lego Dimensions starter kits, which had those like weird shaped plates with the hole in the middle, and used that to make the steps because I had probably like 50 of those. And then from there I did the tower. Actually, after I made the arch, I mounted the stained glass window in the front, the rose window, and then built the tower, one tower, and then started on the side. So I also used those skateboard ramps on the side here. Made the roof, and then made the roof, and I can show you what's inside the roof as far as the structure goes. I used a lot of the Nexo hexagons for that structure to get the angle on the roof.
How did you decide to go with this massive of a scale for the build?
Actually, I was planning to build it a little bit bigger, so I scaled it back a little bit. I wanted to. I kind of wanted to make it just feel like a real cathedral. Like I wanted people to like look at it and think like, oh, that's cool. And then like 5 minutes later realize like, oh, that's made out of Legos. Wow. Yeah. So just kind of with the deadline that I had in 4 months to build it, that's kind of where it ended up. And it actually worked out pretty well. I was actually originally going to use like raised base plates underneath to build a crypt. And so have like that's why the stairs go up that high, because I was going to originally have that be like the level of the floor through the whole nave, but kind of ran out of time for that. So maybe on another iteration of it someday down the line.
What is this side decoration you were able to include on kind of the side of the tower there?
So I used, you're talking about like the silver kind of part? I used I think they're called like dinosaur tails or something like that. And the angles just worked out really well. Also the sword, I don't know what it's called, the scimitar or something with like the nicks in it, which I always kind of thought was a useless part until I kind of found that it fit really well there. And so I actually had to buy a couple more because I only had a few of them. And then like those little daggers and those like teeth things. So
yeah, kind of just creating all those nice, almost like natural looking shapes there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of, I wasn't really sure what to do to fill that hole because it was just kind of a empty space, and then I was like, oh, that kind of looks cool. I'll just do that. Yeah, so right now it's just held on by a handful of flat tiles. And then just put those there, and then this actually slides off. That didn't happen.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, there's the interior. I didn't count. I should have counted how many of those I used, but all those Nexo hexagons for the interior structure of the roof. And the way the ratios worked, they didn't work quite like I wanted them to. Well, here, I can just show you on this. I'll just take this off. So the distance between here and here isn't quite a set number of studs. It's like a fraction off. And then like from here to here was like double that. And so I had to use the plates or the tiles to mount that there. So it really is only connected on that one line. And that's the same all through the whole roof. And then it's the same with, you can see this right here, the distance between that and that kind of had to have some slack in there because it wasn't quite an even number of studs apart. And it was just like a weird ratio and I couldn't really figure it out. So I was just like, oh, do that. And so it kind of slides back and forth a little bit. Although with the transept here and the two bell towers at the front, it really keeps it centered.
So what else do we have inside there? I see you got some lights to kind of help with the kind of stained glass window.
Yeah, I have some lights in there right now just to kind of light it up so that from the outside you can see the stained glass color, or the windows really pop. I have, my original plan was to, like I said, put a catacombs or crypt underneath and have some bones and stuff under there. But I kind of ran out of time for that, so it's just kind of a flat surface. But I did still include some detail, like these 4 columns here. Inside, maybe I'll turn that light off. Might be able to show up a little bit better. So some details on the side too that I used, like some crosses, and kind of was doing some little side chapels and stuff like that.
Yeah. What structurally is kind of the main thing keeping everything up in there?
So as far as the roof, it's this structure here, and this is. Can you take this off? Yeah, it's might be a little. I gotta take it apart anyway. So you can kind of see that, and then these just pop off. It's just a side build, and then I can show you on this. So that's kind of what the whole inside looks like with those crosses along the side. With that worked out pretty well. Kind of, those are the main support structures, and kind of holds this this build with the side, those skateboard ramps on their side together. And there you can kind of see a close-up of the 1x1 clips that I used to make that stonework structure behind the arch, and it turned out pretty well. I was very surprised how well it turned out.
No, that's an incredible amount of pieces there.
Yeah, I used like over 5 pick-a-brick cups full of those 1x1 clips, and there's like over 1,000 in each cup. So, yeah, 5,000-6,000.
So this is an incredible build. Do you plan to expand on this type of build in the future, or build at this scale with maybe a different type of building?
Yeah, I thought about maybe doing kind of redoing it, making some of the things that I didn't get a chance to build on this iteration, the crypt, and maybe just make it a little bit bigger. Although my table's at home, I don't think it'll fit. I love architecture, just building architectural replicas of different things, and just have a few ideas that I'm working on. I also love spaceships. Like some of these spaceships around here are pretty incredible. I love looking at them, and just the creative use of pieces. And I do like builds that you can't really tell that you don't see a lot of exposed studs. And some of these ships here, very few studs exposed, and it's all just really impressive. That's kind of what I try to do with this. I don't really have too many exposed studs on the outside. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, maybe I'll try my hand at building a spaceship.
Well, that would be great. I'm sure it would turn out wonderful. This is an incredible build here. So thank you so much for bringing it out to BrickFair and putting all the time and effort here, and appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you.